Hey everyone, welcome to Burden on Society, the sports edition. Yeah, I just returned from the Middle East following the path of Moses through Egypt and Jordan. Then we had 7 days walking the steps of Jesus. This is something you must do if possible. It will be life-changing, so start saving your money now so you can go. While there, I figured it would be time to start doing some Purdue sports talk. I've always loved playing and talking sports, and if I hadn't been a weatherman, I'd probably be a sports guy. So no better time than now to get moving with it, as Purdue sports, especially the men's basketball team right now, is thriving. So first up, a quick recap of what the last couple of games and how it will affect the rest of the season will look. You always got to have some opinion in there at the beginning, right? So yes, Purdue men's basketball is ranked number 1 in the country for many reasons. I'll hit some of those details shortly, got all kinds of stats for you. But the proverbial elephant in the room is that Zach Edey is going to get doubled and triple covered every game from now on. It's apparent, just like Purdue's bigs in the past, he's going to get mauled. Haas's name, does that come to mind for sure? So teams realize he will get his by offensive rebounds and the like, right? And some putbacks. But if they force him to pass in the normal flow, disrupting that perceived flow when things get going, then they can force Purdue to shoot other than at a 60% clip from that big man in the middle. A positive game flow was just detrimental to teams like Gonzaga and Duke, as Purdue shot fluidly and well. But the last 2 games when they did not, then a team has a chance. And you know what? Other teams noticed, and it will be the game plan for most, if not all, teams from here on out. You at least have a chance if the offensive flow is taken from Edey by forcing it to the shooters. 12% shooting outside of Edey will give any team an opportunity on any given night. So, look for the double, hack, and hold on Edey to continue. Assuming, though, that the refs continue to allow it. Yes, he's getting plenty of fouls now and free throws, but he's still getting pretty much mauled when he does do it down low. So as you might expect, I like numbers. Being a meteorologist, I guess it's in my nature. So I might throw a bunch at you as we talk today. These come straight from PurdueSports.com. I got to throw their plug in there. And of course, so I'm not pulling them out of thin air. I actually got them from somewhere, and I didn't just make them up. So here's the game on Wednesday. Let's call it game day info, right? We just got done with Davidson, and before that, Nebraska, and those games were tight and things were pretty tough. Well, Wednesday night, it's going to be against New Orleans. Now, Purdue's 11-0, of course, number 1 in the country. New Orleans, 3-7. I don't know where they're buried at right now, but they're just not a great team. And, of course, it's at Mackey Arena in West Lafayette, Indiana. If you haven't been there, you got to come here to see it. All right. Television looks like it's on ESPN University, and the radio, of course, is on the Purdue Sports Network. Announcers are Jordan Burnfield and Purdue's very own alumni, Robbie Hummel. Wouldn't it have been great if he had won a national championship? Well, maybe he can call one of these years, if not this year. Okay, so here's some of the notes to know. Purdue closes out the pre-holiday break portion of the schedule with this game against New Orleans at Mackey Arena. And it looks to be maybe one of those games you're not really worried about, right? But look, New Orleans is not very good. And it is at Mackey, done deal. That's what we can say, right? That's what most of you are writing off already. Yeah, a word to the wise. Giant killers are born every day, and they love to see themselves on SportsCenter. So get the job done and rest up for the coming battles as we move into January and February, and keep the bus and train, as we like to say, rolling forward. All right, the game does mark the first time that Boilermaker basketball program will play a home game as the nation's number 1 team. Purdue's previous 3 games as the number 1 ranked team have come on the road against Rutgers and a couple neutral sites, of course, in Brooklyn and in Indianapolis this year. Now, Purdue is looking to extend its non-conference regular season winning streak to 23 games. This was a big one. This is dating back to December 8th, 2020 at a loss in Miami, Florida. The win streak is the longest in the country by 9 games. 13 was the best, so 20, 23, 22, 23, that's a lot. Now, For the second straight year, though, also now ranked number one, Purdue has been voted that number one team in the top 25 poll, but it was voted number one on December 6th for the first time in school history last year. Now, Purdue becomes the first Big Ten team since Indiana to do it in consecutive years, being the number one ranked team. Now, despite some others trying to proclaim something different, Purdue can claim America's best resume, owning a nation's best top 50 Ken Pom wins, all of them against teams ranked in the top 30. That's 4 of them. 3 of the wins, Marquette was at home, have come away from Mackey Arena. Now, appearing at number one in this week's AP Top 25, Purdue has been ranked in the top 5 in consecutive years for the first time since 1986, 87, 87, 88 seasons, and the Boilermakers have spent 16 of the past 26 AP polls ranked in the top 5. Only Gonzaga has spent more time in the top 5 than Purdue since the last start of last season. And Purdue's 23 appearances in the top 10 during that span are better than just about anybody. All right, so 1 year after ranking second in the country in rebound margin, this is a good one. Purdue now leads the country in rebound margin at plus 12.8. The Boilermakers are outscoring their opponents 147 to 69 in second chance points. Wow, that is a big margin, like 7 to 8 points when you start adding everything up per game. Now, Purdue has made 192 free throws this season, while opponents have just shot 116. And Purdue has made 112 more free throws this season, the second highest discrepancy in the country than other teams. Carolina has plus 123. New Mexico is like 103, so we're in the top 5 there. Now, Purdue has held 23 straight opponents to 75 or fewer points. That is the third longest streak in the country. Only North Texas with 43 and Houston with 27 have more. Going on to regular season games, Purdue has won 32 straight regular season games when it faced an unranked opponent at home or on a neutral game court somewhere, right? Let's hope that's not a harbinger for bad news. Purdue is currently the 5th youngest team among power conference teams in America in terms of D1 experience. Does that not bode well for the future also? And this is according to Ken Pom. The Purdue freshman class is averaging 28 points per game. That's 37% of the scoring. So we can see how our freshmen are stepping up to the plate, so to speak, and hitting a grand slam. In another moniker. Through Thursday, though, Zach Edey ranks number 1 in Ken Pom Player of the Year ratings by a significant margin and has been in the game MVP in all 11 Purdue contests. That's unprecedented to start a season in the Ken Pom era. So far this year now, that is. It's now tied for the longest game MVP streak ever with Ohio State's Keita Bates-Diop in 2017-18, which was 11. Now, Purdue has had a top 10 Ken Pom player in 5 of the last 7 seasons, and Edey ranks 6th in the country in scoring, 1st in rebounds, 21st in block shots, and 22nd in field goal percentage. You know, perhaps our favorite Zach Edey stat, though, and this came from the site, through 11 games this year, he has more block shots than personal fouls. 24 to 20. He's also played like 30 minutes 9 times in those games, and Edey is averaging just 2 fouls in about a 40-minute span. Now, over the last 4 games, Zach Edey has produced 94 points and 73 rebounds. He is the first player since Oklahoma's Blake Griffin, yes, November 2008, where he had 104 and 79, to have at least 94 points and 74 rebounds in a 4-game span. That's something to think of. Now, Edey became the first Big Ten player since Ethan Happ to be named Big Ten Player of the Week in 3 consecutive weeks. His 3 Big Ten Player of the Week awards in only 5 weeks are tied for the 3rd most in a season in Purdue history. I think he's going to break that. You know, Fletcher Lawyer has been named Big Ten Freshman of the Week twice this season already himself, and the 2 awards are the 3rd most for a freshman in Purdue history behind Caleb Swanigan and Vince Edwards. Now, Matt Painter needs just 5 overall victories to become the 5th coach in Big Ten history with 400 victories while at a conference school. You know, these numbers are just kind of crazy. He's been a great coach for a long period. Doesn't matter what the numbers are. He's doing a great job, even for those of you who may not like him from time to time. So, tons of great stats, lots of numbers, but we all know it may not always play out in the game itself, especially if the other guys are trying to knock off the top team in the country. Don't take them lightly. Go out and do your work and get the job done. And we'll see you next week, guys. That's something we would really like to see as you come back next week, 12-0 after a nice rest over the holiday. pop out another victory, and get into the Big Ten season where things really mean a lot at any given time. So that's it from the desk right here, the desk at my house for Burden on Society, the Sports Edition. I'm Brian Burton. I'll talk to you next time.